Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome to the 11th episode of Open Source Day. I'm Frehiwot Handles. In today's episode, we have Vedant. Vedant, congrats for being part of Google's. So Vedant, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for having me. I'm being honored. So hey everyone, myself Vedant Jain. I'm pursuing my BTech degree in computer science branch from GGIT at Jabalpur. I'm enthusiastic about open source technology, web development, and hackathon. I got selected for Google Summer of Code 2022, with Circuit Bus organization, and also Google Season of Docs with Pelisados organization for Talaba project. I'm also Microsoft Learning student ambassador. A part of the technical, I really love playing basketball and swimming. So yeah, that is much about me.
Okay, Vedant, what was your motivation to contribute to open source?
Okay, so uh, let me let me share my stories. I got to know about open source. Like, okay, so it was January 2021. I don't know nothing like anything about open source, anything about like and literally nothing about a software technology, how to get into a good company. I don't even know about tech stack and all that things. So I started with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then I got to know about GitHub, and I published it my project in GitHub. Then I got to know about what is GitHub, and then I wonder why GitHub is so popular just to publish the project. Then I got to know about open source, and in January 2021, GSOC also got announced. So I was curious what is GSOC, and I was not known to open source and nothing about GSOC and all that thing. So I got to know about GSOC and open source thing from there. I just jumped into it because I don't get uh, good knowledge from the tutorials and all the things. Like I followed Kunal Kushwaha and Hers Kasper. I watched their podcast and all that thing that really gave me a good information about open source and GSOC. And then what I did is I just applied for GSOC, and I I know that I will not got going to select because I was very beginner and I was very new and I was not known to GitHub and all that things, and also the tech stack that organization which I applied was using. So my organization was Chromium at that time, and I didn't got selected, but yeah, I learned a lot about GSOC, GitHub, and that was the thing that I was looking for the previous GSOC, and I also applied for a beginner friendly program that is Girl Script Summer of Code, and in that I got to know about I got selected for that, and I got to know about open source organization, open source repositories. I got to know about what is PR, what is repository. So when I learned about them in tutorials, I was not able to understand it. But when I am doing it practically and implementing the things, I got it pretty much good. And then after the 3 months of Girl Script Summer of Code, I have a good decent ranking in leaderboard as well. Of course, it doesn't matter, but I thought, okay, open source is really for me. I am type of open source guy because I like to collaborate. I like to explore the technology. I like to solve the issues. And then I thought, okay, now let's start with my next aim, that is Google Summer of Code 2022. Then I searching a search for organization for, and my main aim is to work under the web development and web development technology and organization. So I just applied. I just searched for it, and I also joined one of the program that is Anita B organize. That is open source day. It was 1 day long open source program. So at that time, I got to know about CircuitVerse, and after that, I thought after getting merged my PR, my first PR, for which I also paid $100 Amazon gift card. So I got really motivated from there, and I thought, okay, so Fitverse is the organization which I'm looking forward in the next GSOC as well, because they were they were applying for GSOC 2 years back as well, and they got selected. So then my bonding with Circuit was started. I started contributing in open source, and I also applied for MLH fellowship, GitHub externship, and all the open source program out there. And a part of rejection, I really got great opportunities, great connections, and great learning from there. And previously, I also get accepted for Google Summer of Code, as you all know, and Google Season of Docs as well. So that was my motivation and journey behind my open source. Yeah. Barrett, over to you. Your mic is not working. You're mute.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember your first contribution? Like your first time
No,
ever open source contribution?
no, I just shared my open source journey. Okay, so for first contribution, so if you talk about my whole open source journey and my first contribution, so I think I just searched in my GitHub, and it was a simple front end issue that I need to solve. It was good first issue. I don't remember the organization, but yeah, it was in Gulfscape Summer of Code. And if you talk about my circuit works, so it was also a front end. It was, but front end in Gulfscape Summer of Code and front end in circuit works is really a great difference, because it is a beginner friendly program that is Girl script, and it is a circuit work, so it's very high level. So there very I got to know about various things like what is indentation error and line linting, so all the things from my first contribution. So yeah, that was my first contribution in both. Okay, you are mute again.
Yes.
Yeah.
In our previous podcast, we were covering on like GSOC and how the mentees become part of GSOC. So first of all, what is Google Summer of Code?
Okay, so first of all, Google Summer of Code is not an internship at Google. You're not going to work under Google developers. Just Google plays as a umbrella, or it is just a Google Summer of Code is a Google affiliated program which promote open source. So like it gives a platform for open source organization to come join with the program and to hire contributors to work in their respective project that they are going to got selected for, like they are going to publish in the GSOC this year. So that is a simple, like it's not a internship or anything. You're working with Google, you're working with organization under the umbrella of Google. So yeah, that is about GSOC, and it's promoting the open source. So you can see what is open source is. Yeah, right. So that is the simplest definition of what is Google Summer of Code.
Okay, that's nice. So are there like any projects like in Google Summer of Code, like the projects, are they divided on skill levels, like beginners, for intermediates, and for advanced?
Okay, so my project was medium hard. Like it was medium stated, but it looked me like a medium hard project. It in this time in this GSOC, there is a slight change. So there are two types of projects or project duration. That is, I guess, 12 weeks, and one is 22 weeks. So for 12 weeks, the like accordingly the stipend varies. So for 12 weeks, it I guess it may differ from easy to medium, and for 22 weeks, it will probably be hard one only. But in my organization, all the projects, like there were 6 projects that was listed in my organization, and they all were 12 weeks long, and they out of which 2 were hard, 3 were medium, and 1 was easy. So my project is circuit was platform improvement, and it is a medium project. So like there are like the project depends on organization to organization, and like they stated like easy, hard, medium. But trust me, it's not like that. You should go for easy or medium or hard, because if you know the tech stack, I don't think so that barrier should come in your way, because mentors are really supportive. They will come along in any of the situation, whether it's easy, whether it's hard, it's basic or school. So it's like that. It is expected, and I will not suggest you to just rate yourself in the basis of easy, hard, medium. You should rate yourself on the basis of the interest you for the project only. So yeah.
Okay, so Vedant, like you told us, like you don't have to be afraid, like in order to join for this kind of programs. So, what was your motivation to join Google Summer of Code? And can you tell us your journey of joining Google Summer of Code?
Um, can you repeat yourself, please?
Okay, so can you tell us like your motivation to join Google Summer of Code and like your journey of all over joining Google Summer of Code?
Okay, so my journey started previous year. I also tried previous year GSOC 2021 for Chromium organization. So you know about Chromium. It's like Chromium operating system. So I tried for one project that was based on PWA, that is Progressive Web App, and it need to build under the JavaScript and TypeScript language. So I was known to JavaScript only, and I was not able to understand what is React and Angular at that point of time. But now I'm comfortable with them. So I just built my application. Like there was a task that we need to build a sample application. So I built my application in JavaScript and HTML, CSS, and that was a foolish thing I did. But one of my other competitors, that was I will not rate them competitor because I was really beginner to them. So they made the sample in Vue and Angular and React, and that was also high scale using async API and all that things. So at that point of time, I don't know about them at all. So I just mash it up, but I really got to know about a lot of things, I would say. Like if whether you got selected for GSOC or not, or any program, if you have tried so hard, the result will be in your hand, and you will get satisfied. Okay, I learned this. I got experience. I experienced it, and through that experience, I tried this year, and like after completing my Gulf Scripts of Code, I got to know that okay, I really like open source. I really like collaborating with the things, and I really like the environment and vibe of the open source programs. So I would definitely going to just focus on open source only. So then my journey for GSOC 2022 start, and that's why I just choose the organization Circuitverse. So yeah, that was my motivation, and then just contributing in Circuitverse only. I just stick to one organization because apart like after before getting into Circuitverse, my main motive was GSOC only. But after into Circuitverse, my main motive was little bit slow down, and my experience motivation got up. So I just want my experience because their mentor are really inspiring. The founder is really cool, and they have given me so much support, and I have learned a lot. So that was my motivation when getting into the Circuitverse, and so yeah, that is, I guess, my motivation behind it.
Vedant, you told us like how the mentors were supportive and how you joined Gold Summer of Code. So like there are many organizations in GSOC. So why did you choose the current organization you are working on now? Or
Okay, so I was also looking like in the Google only and YouTube, that how to select organization. And one of the influencer, one of the podcasts, I got to know like, okay, you should always search organization on the basis of your interest, whether you are good at tech stack they are using or not. So that point of time, I was like in this point, I am really enthusiastic about web technology and full stack development. So I just go for web development organization that is based on like the organization that is based on web development, a part of any of the tech stack they are using, because of course they are going to use any high level tech stack only. So just the interest I was looking for, that is web development. So that's why I search for like I register for one of the program that is OSD, in which they like in the form they specify that which tech stack you are interested, or which domain you're interested. So I just put web technology, and they have matched me with circuit bus, and that incident changed my life, and I just contribute in circuit bus. So on that point of time, um, I was not able to, like, I don't know what is Ruby on Rails. Like, circuit was based on Ruby on Rails and JavaScript. So the main platform is built on Ruby on Rails. So I was not able to understand at that point of time, oh, okay, what is Ruby on Rails? But the uh, the thing is, like, I just need to learn this thing. And one of the G Soccer fellow helped me a lot in this journey. Not one, like there were many, and they helped me a lot, like including Pawan, Ayan, and Rituraj, and also mentor Abu Bakr. So they really helped me a lot in the journey of my learning and um, in the circuit was. So yeah, so my interest was to search for web development, to search for a good organization, and I was looking for Indian organization, so that there should not be any time difference or something like that. Like if there is any community meeting, so I am able to join in my time zone. So these three things I look forward.
That's nice, Vedant. Like many viewers can learn from you. Okay, so like in order to be chosen for Google Summer of Code, what are the things we need to do, or what do we need to have?
Okay. So of course, like, to join in the Google Summer of Code, you should have a good, like, you should have a good approaching skill. You should have good Googling skills, because many times I faced, like maximum of my bugs I solved using just Googling, because I just don't need to interrupt mentors for small things. So you should have Googling thing. Also, you should not be afraid of asking the question in the community, because that is the thing. Like, many of the contributors are just left behind, like, oh, they will judge me on the basis of my question. No, it just going to give you a good experience and good learning only. So never be hesitate to ask the question or a valid doubt, not like a personal thing. Okay, my life is like that. No, not like that. On the scope of the thing, you can just ask any question related. And I would suggest to not to ask mentors privately, because that is really prohibited in many organizations. You should ask the question in publicly, so that other contributors who are facing the similar issue, they can also get motivated from there, that only. So you should also have a good tech stack, like tech stack mindset, because, like, it's not mandatory that you should know all the thing about tech stack. You just have to know a little bit what is going on, like in the web. You should know about HTML, CSS, how the web works, how the HTTP protocols are there. If there is backend, so how the backend is working, what are the post, like CRUD methods are there, what is a database if they're using Postgres. Like, you should familiar with the basic concept of everything, because if you're a beginner at any of the open source or mainly GSOC organization, you're not going to get, like, you will be like, okay, what is happening here? But after giving the time, you will get to know about, okay, it is the thing. So you should also have a patience skills. Like, you should patiently read the code, what is there, and how the mentors or other contributors have cleared the issue and features. So yeah, and also, like, Googling skills, you should have patient, you should have a good communication skill. Of course, you should have a good technical skills. Yeah, that is basic.
Okay, in our previous podcast, we saw like mentees have prepared proposals in order to be part of Google Summer of Code. So, can you tell us more about your proposal, like how you prepared it, like what are the things you need to have in that proposal, like what's the benefit of having good proposal? Can you tell us more about
Okay.
it?
Yeah, for sure. So um okay, so let me just share my screen for that. Yeah, so is my screen visible? No, it's not.
Vedant, like, can you tell us more about the proposal? Then I will join with my
Okay,
phone.
okay, sure. So, about my proposal. So, like first of all, you should be looking forward to the template that organization have given you. Many of the organization give their template, and like you should only frame your proposal according to that. So my organization did the same thing. They have a template proposal, so I just edit my content in there. So it's not like that you should have a proposal like 40 pages or something like that. It should be okay. My screen is visible now. Okay, so yeah. So let me just open my proposal. Okay, so this is my proposal if you can see. So yeah, you should have a quality content only, or what I was saying, right? So this is my proposal. So you should have a good heading. So like if you have a lengthy proposal, you can just divide the section in the table of content that will make mentor easiness to just go to the section they are interested in, right? So first of all, about me, then motivation and interest, then commitments. This is the judging criteria that like it varies from organization to organization. This is really a very judging criteria. It is not the only judging criteria, of course, but it is one of the things that you should have, that is contribution so far in the organization. So if you can see that I have, I guess 20, yeah, 29 PRs, including open and merged PRs. So it is a pretty good contributions. Of course, quantity doesn't matter, quality contribution matters, because like I have seen some of the example of my friends who have more than 30 PRs in their organization and they didn't got selected for GSOC this year. So it's always like quality contribution, right? So you can just start the proposal with overview. So in my project, mainly we need to like I need to publish the I need to deliver six main features and tackle the issues. And so I just divided the section according to that. So first is improvement in notification page. So in every heading, I have three subheadings, I guess. One is synopsis, that is the description of the issue. Then there is a implementation, if you have a code. Okay, and the last thing is key deliverables that you have thought of to give the deliverables for respective issue, right? And the fourth thing can be UI revamp. So like if you have built the UI, so you can just point it out here. So in this case, I have this section as well. So in the sixth, all the sections, I have listed the three subheadings. So you can also do that same thing. And one of the thing that can be a judging criteria is the project plan, and the most important is timeline, like how you have drafted your timeline. So it is really most important aspect of proposal. Sometimes it is more important than the implementation part. So you should always think of it before sending proposal to organization, right? So yeah, so yeah, that was basically about my proposal. So you should have a quality content. Also for writing the proposal, so you should always, like if you have any doubt regarding any point, you should be cleared from you can get cleared from mentors, because in my case, let me give you example. So in my case, in one point, I thought it was a different thing, but after clearing my doubt, it was a very different thing. So like if you can imagine, so like if I had not asked my doubt for that, and surprisingly I will not got selected for GSOC this year. So that can be a judging criteria. So you should always clear your doubt, you should always be precise, not like okay, you are just um, giving the unnecessary details. And always review your proposal from mentors. If you have more than one mentor, it is really good. You can ask them one by one, so your filtration will be 3 times, right? So in my case, there were 5 mentors. So I reviewed my proposal from all the mentors, and one of the like it was, I guess, 7 time I reviewed combinedly. So my proposal got really very good, and I was really, hopeful that okay, this proposal is really good, and I submitted it. So because many of the contributors didn't like, because of the hesitation or because of they think that they are going to judge, they didn't ask for the reviews. But it is really very mandatory task to get review for your draft proposal, and until until the deadline. Okay, so what I did is like many of the organization listed the projects before 1 month. So in my right, so it gives you time to draft your proposal very wisely. So suppose like 7 March was the official date from the GSOC that organization going to select. But in my organization, like in every organization I have seen, organization have listed the project 1 month ago only. So I started working out, and that is the benefit of sticking into the organization, that you get updated about the project, right? So I got 2 months for drafting my proposal. So I just researched all the things in my 1 month, and then I drafted my proposal in 15 days, and I reviewed it. And the second draft I reviewed it in the 7 days, and I submitted it. So that you should also be known. Yeah, that was my proposal.
It's very informative, Vedant. So, okay, you got lucky and got selected for this year's Google Summer of Code. So, what's your message for those contributors who are not part of this year GSOC?
Okay, so if you're looking for like what is the correct time to get started with the open source, it is the correct time. Just after this podcast, go to the Google, just search for the organization you are interested in, and just start contributing it. Because the delay you will the late you will start, the late you will understand, and the more you will give to the organization, the more organization will give you, of course. Like it's always quality. So my message to all the contributors is that don't be disheartened if you are not selected. Just have faith, and just give your best. Just give for of course, like, don't pin the mentors continuously if they are not reviewing your PR, because they may be like doing it intentionally, right? So just behave yourself in the organization, because just organization is not the contribution is not only the judging criteria that is going that will give you that help you to get selected for Google Summer of Code. It's your community bonding, that how you're behaving in community. Are you helping others as well or not? Are you intending to give open source? Because it's not like internship, like you are just focusing on yourself only. And you should always think of organization first, like what is the beneficial of organization. And it's not like you are just uh, it's not like you are just going to the same level PR and issue. Like suppose what I did is, when my first issue was merged, that was SCSS. Then I jumped it to JavaScript issue. So your learning curve should be exponential, not linear or constant. It should be exponential. Like you should always be ready for higher steps. So that will really give you a good that really give you a good hype in the organization, and honestly in yourself also. So yeah, I guess just focus on the contribution and give your quality time to it.
That's impressive, Vedant. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, so there are also new beginners in the open source. So can you tell them like what from where they can start, like the first tips for newcomers in open source?
Yeah, for sure. So, for beginners in open source, I would suggest you, if you are really like newbie, I would suggest Google Summer of Code can be disheartened for you, because it was for me. Like, I'm just giving tips from my experience only. So you should participate in some of the beginner friendly programs, open source, that held in globally. Some of them are Girl Script Summer of Code, um, and also Script Winter of Code, and also some of the IITs also host the open source event. So you should just start with there, so you will get what is open source, how the community works. You are also going to get to know about some of the channels. Like, we are not using we are not using WhatsApp web or LinkedIn for chat, but it's Slack or Discord. You will get to know about that as well. And so yeah, that is very important. Like, for a beginner, I would suggest to participate in some of the beginner friendly programs. I've named it Girl Script Summer of Code, Script Winter of Code. And after that, you should always be open to learn. If you have like many like in my PRs, there are really very long comment that mentor commented and requested changes. But first time I was disheartened, because I was not able to provide a good stuff, because I was not able to understand. But uh, mentors are also supportive. They cheer me up, and they told me, okay, I need to learn from the sources and all the things, and I learned it. And I just provide the good content, and from the next time I did not repeat that same mistake. I learned from the mistake, and my contributions was like exponentially. So that is also the thing. Like, you should always open to learn, and don't get disheartened from the criticism. Always look for constructive criticism. So yeah, also don't provide the hype in the community as well, because if of the listeners are watching from very end, they can judge you in any point of time, and the first impression can be the last impression. And so just like behave yourself. Like, just don't be casual every time. Just be like, okay, you are a part of organization. You should have good like communication skills, and you should behave yourself always. Like, I'm not harshing you. Like, I'm just giving you a good tips. It's a good tip. Like, you should not be always casual in the organization. Don't trust anybody in the organization. Like, you're messaging personally, and they have messaged the mentor, so that can be a really bad thing, right? So don't trust anyone. Make friends, of course, make friends, but don't trust blindly. So yeah. And also, also like many of the contributors also stick to 2 3 organization as well. So you can do that, but I would suggest sticking to one and giving time to one only would be worth it. And it's really depends on organization to organization and person to person, whether they can manage the time for each organization or not. So yeah, that is that is the tips.
Okay, Vedant. So from the open source cafe, so let's go to today's tag is Android development and web development. Okay, so can you tell us like how you started with those platforms, and if you have any projects, can you share them with us?
Yeah, for sure. So I started with like I started with HTML in my school days only. So I know that, okay, there is something we say web development. But coming to college, I got to know, no, it's a different scenario. Just sticking into HTML don't provide you a web development skill. So I started with CSS also. Like in January 2021, I started with HTML CSS. I made one project out of them. Then I started with JavaScript. I made two projects out of it. And then I thought, okay, I got to know about HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So I should, of course, share them with my friends. So I got to know about GitHub, right? So I published my project in GitHub, and I got to know about GitHub pages, deployment, and hosting, all the things. And I also got to know about what is Git. So then what I did is I was just working on JavaScript. JavaScript was also hectic, so I got the advice that you should learn libraries or frameworks. So out of as a JavaScript core, there are three libraries or frameworks, we can say, React, Angular, and Vue. So I selected React because it was popular, and also my seniors also suggested me for that. So I just started with the React. It really, like, learning React was a really a very interesting thing, and it was a different level thing for me, because it was my first library I learned. And I got to know about React. I got to know about JavaScript, npm packages, and various things from there. So I my attitude towards learning a technology is always to learn and implement it. It is not like learning the thing and not implementing the thing. So I always, like, in React, there we call hooks. So I learned use state. I make up two project out of it based on use state. I learned use effects. I made two project out of them. I Then I got to know about use context. I made project out of it. So it is always, it should be exponential. Like, you should learn by coding, not like learning the things. You should always open to implement them into the project. And I never copied any of the project. I always think, like, not copied in the sense of code. I got I got fascinated from the ideas. So you can say I copied the idea, but I implemented on my own. Like, some of that project is GitHub. First of my project on the basis of React was GitHub profile readme generator. So I started the project, and it was basically all use state hook only. And I just implemented my whole learning about the user state and React into that project. And then I grew up, and I got to know about use effects. So I applied API in that, and that I got to know about use context. So there also I applied use context, use state, and use effect in that project. So then I thought, okay, front end is giving good me, but let us try backend as well. So then I started with Node.js and Express and MongoDB. So I just started learning it, and then made a project that was basically that was like basically server backend only. Then I integrated backend and front end, and that's what we call MERN stack. And then I was really very interesting about it, and I can say that, yeah, I was full stack development that time, and I made a good projects out of them. One of my project is also got selected for SWOC, that is Script Winter of Code, and I also got selected for project admin for that project only. And my yeah, also, like, two of the projects also got selected for MLS fellowship, like Am I audible?
You can
Yeah,
continue. You can continue.
yeah. So where was I?
You were telling us about like how you became full developer and about your project.
Yeah, I was like, so yeah, that was the end. Like, my project also got selected. So like my attitude towards project or learning the thing is to implement the thing always. Like I learn one topic and I implement it in the project, and yeah, that was the tradition I always do for the project. And as a result, I really got to know about really very like got to know about various things, how the technology is working, what are various steps we can or various algorithm we can implement particular feature. So yeah, that was my attitude.
Okay, that's nice. So, uh, I myself is a modern stack developer. So, are there any communities for full stack developers, like communities we need to be active on?
Yeah, so I would suggest Twitter is a good platform for any of the developer or a part of any tech stack. Twitter is really good, and also for any modern stack. I don't know about any community, but yeah, I know about like you can always look for the organization that have a Munstack project, right? So yeah, I don't remember any particular organization because I always build my project on my own only. And yeah, I have worked with the organization in some of the programs only, Gulf Script, Summer of Code, and SWC, as I have mentioned. So yeah, because in the GSOC, many of the like in the GSOC, you will not see some of the organization, like you will rarely see Munstack based organization. So I don't remember any particular organization for Monstack, but yeah, you can go to Twitter. It is really very good, and also Twitch is there, right? And yeah, many of the MLH fellow hackathon you can just participate in which you will get to know about um, community they have. So yeah.
Okay, there are some viewers who have no any experience in contributing in open source. So can we be chosen for Google Summer of Code if we have no any contribution history, like if we don't have any experience in open source? Can we still have a
Yeah, for
chance to
sure.
be chosen?
Um, I would say it also varies from project to project. If the project have a prerequisite of the like if the project is attached to organization, so you should know about okay what is all about what is all about like code base right now. You should have a contribution there, so on that basis you should have a contribution there. But if the project is just separated, like the new repository has to be made, and there is a new tech stack that is going to be merged in that organization. So I don't think so it is needed, because it is going to be just a different tech stack, and the selection criteria for that project will be on your proposal only. But it is always good to have contributions, because mentor will see okay, it is this particular guy proposal. I have seen his work, his or her work. He is pretty good. Okay, so let's do his proposal, and yeah, they can judge you on that way only, right?
Okay. So having good connection with mentors is a key to be like good contributor in Google Summer of Code. So how can we communicate with our mentors? So what is a good way to communicate with our mentors?
Yeah. So I guess a good way to communicate with mentor is to show your work to them, because that will help them to recognize okay, what person you are, what level of knowledge you have, right? And also, as I said, that don't like always try to always try to be active in the community, try to answer the questions in community. Like there are many of the contributors that come in, okay, I am facing this bug. So if you know about it, always try to help them out, because that will show your way, that will show your attitude towards the community, not yourself only. Like you are not just thinking of fear only and just GSOC. You are thinking of building up the organization and open source. So that should be the way. Like, and also talking with the mentors. Like many of the community host the meeting, annual meeting or monthly meeting for the organization. So always try to attend them, ask your doubt, always try to be interactive, always try to be have a good communication, and like you should know what to ask to them. Try to avoid the personal conversation. If you had a like some of the bugs that is not meant to other contributors, you can ask mentors to directly, of course. And if you want to ask some regarding your PR, that can be a personal talk as well. But try to avoid it, because that will also show your constructive attitude towards the community. Yeah.
Okay, Vedant. So now you are part of GSOC 2022. So what's your plan after finishing this program?
Yeah, right. So I'm in third year. So what I have think is like I will try to be mentor in the next year, of course, but it is just on the organization administration hand. But I will apply for the same organization, of course. And like I am also working as a technical writer in Google season of docs, and that will end on November. So after November, I will look for, like I didn't have planned it, but of course I will look for internship at any startup or something, right? And after that, I am always open for open source, any of the learning the tech stack, new tech stack, and of course I will be building my project as well. So not to get distracted from my tech stack also. So yeah.
Uh, okay, Vedant, you mentioned like you're planning to be a mentor. So can someone be a mentor like without any history of contributing to open source, like without being part of GSOC?
No, like what is mentor is like you should know about the project, you should know how to solve project deliverables. That is the main key, from my point of view, that is the main key factors that mentors should have. So a part of your contribution or something, you should know about the tech stack, of course. You should know about the error or the issue that can be faced by the contributor during the coding phase. So yeah, I guess the main criteria to become mentor is to have a good knowledge about the project.
Okay, like we had such an informative session so far. Uh, so we saw how we can be part of GSOC, how we can contribute in open source. So for non-technical members, what's your message for non-technical members? Like we saw in the technical way how we can contribute. So are there any programs for non-technical contributors? Like who have no
Um,
any experience
hmm.
in the coding world?
Okay, so for non-technical, I would suggest, I really don't know about a specific non-technically, like if you're talking about electricals and all that things. So I personally I don't know about the program, but yeah, if you're beginner at if you're beginner at technical, like if you're non-technical, and if you're, of course, if you're jumping to technical programs, so you should have a little bit knowledge about technical. And if you don't have interest in building the things but documenting, so of course Google season of docs is there for you. As a technical writer, you should mainly have, of course, technical knowledge about the tech stack, but you should have a good writing skill as well. And the tech stack that technical writer uses is a pretty much like comparatively easier for building the project because we use markdown markup language for writing the writing the blogs. So yeah, that can be a issue. Like if you are non-technical student, you should start with the technical things, and concluding, like if you don't want to build up the things, if you like writing the things, Google Serial of Docs is for you.
Okay, so now let's start answering from questions from viewers. So we have
Yeah.
one question. It says, Vedant, there are so many code bases. So how can we go through it? Like how can we go through the Google Summer code and all the processing of the journey?
Yeah, for sure. So like about the code base, like don't go to the don't go to the code base first of all. Like if you are working on particular issue, just go to the file only. And if you are a beginner, so of course you will go for good first issue. And many of the good first issue can be solved in like 1 to 3 files only. So and like in my case, I started with one file, then then I jump back to 5 files, and like exponentially it goes bigger. So about the code base, learning the code base, you should have knowledge what particular folder does. If you don't have any knowledge what files is, like suppose in the Rails, like you should know what does config do, what does app do. Under app you have view file, you have controllers, you have models. You should know about what each of the folder do, because many of the organization, they really have a good structured code. Each file is meant to something, and each file is under the folder that is also meant to something else that other folder does not have. So I guess you should know what each file do. Don't If you don't have any knowledge what each line do, it is really okay, because you will learn about, like, some of the line is generated for the on the framework only, like it is just a default only. So it is not mandatory you should have knowledge about that, but you should know what particular folder does. And like if what particular folder does, and how the flow is working, like how model is interacting with the controller, and how controller is interacting with the views, how the route file is configured. What are the like many of the organization uses the test cases for testing particular features. So just try to learn what is test cases, and how test works, and how tests are built. So I would say it is always curious to learn about anything you see. So first of all, like many of the, like if you think about Angular, so you should first of all know the basic code. Not like just try to set up on your desk, then you will get to know, okay, this file does this thing, and compare it to the organization code base, and you will see, okay, now you can figure it out, okay, this file will do this thing. So yeah, in that way you can figure out the large code base. Just be patient while learning.
Okay, I think we have another question from Kamal. I think he's trying to say, having a good CV, does it have any impact to be part of GSOC? Like, does it have any impact having a good CV?
No, CV, I guess. No, I don't think so. It is mandatory, because many of the selected contributors are students only, and like from the first year and second year, and we cannot expect something good in their resume, right? So no, I don't think so. It's mandatory.
Okay, we have another question from Biom. Biom asked, is it mandatory to be GSOC contributor before in order to be a mentor? I think
Um,
we have covered this one before, but
yeah,
if you have anything
I
to
think
say.
we have. I would just say that it's not mandatory. It's depends on the project. Like if you have a good knowledge about the project, and if you have previously worked on it, of course you can be a mentor. But if you don't have, you should always try to escape that, because contributor is only going to annoy you only. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Vedant. I have one question. You earlier you told us you are a React developer. So
Yeah.
why did you choose React from the other JavaScript frameworks?
Yeah. First of all, why I choose React. Um, it was because of like I started with the HTML CSS JavaScript, and as I told you that I haven't known about anything. What is Java? What is frameworks? Like in that point of time, I didn't even know what is framework. What is the difference between framework and libraries? So I was just going through the internet. I got to know about it from many of the resources. I searched for the podcast. I searched for the YouTube tutorials, like which one is to select. I like, and after figuring it out, I think that um, React is for me, because many of the contributors are, or many of the developers are just choosing React because of their high scalability, readability, and easiness. And also there are many npm packages. Like at that point of time, I don't even know about npm packages, but yeah, now I can say that yeah, npm packages for React is also well maintained, and it is really very easy. Also, after the React 14, that is version, not React 14, I guess React 12, they just converted all the class component to functional components. So that is really very readable, I guess. The hooks also, before, the use effect was divided into three part, I guess. Did mounted and up mounted, I didn't even know, but yeah. So it got all merged into just one single hook, that is use effects. So on the basis of readability, scalability, and easiness, I choose React.
Thank you very much, Vedant. We have one last question from Rahul. So Rahul asked, you will be doing GSOC and GSOC together. So what will be your best practice to manage both of the things together?
Okay, so for the GSOC, like first of all, I think that procrastination should not be there. All the things should be um, in the week itself. Like your deliverability should be matched for each the program, that is GSOC and GSOT, like what you have mentioned in your proposal. So what I am doing right now is I am working morning afternoon for GSOC, and evening and night for GSOT. So I have divided my time in this frame, because my college, my end sem is also over, and so I have one month holiday. So I think that I can just cover the main part in this month. And also in 7 semesters, like I will not be like, because college also know that I'm working on the two things, so they also have given me some of the beverages, like okay, you can do the thing, and attendance criteria doesn't matter in our college. So yeah, it just depends on the free time you're getting out of the day. So yeah, I'm just working 4 to 5 hours in GSOC, and I guess 3 to 4 hours in GSOC. So yeah, I'm managing the both the things, right?
Okay, Vedant, thank you so much for giving your time for us. It was quite an informative and impressive podcast with you. Thank you for your time. So we will end today's podcast now. Thank you for
Yeah,
giving
for
us
sure.
your time.
Thank you so much. I was really honored, and you're doing great. Bye.